Okay, in this video we're going to learn how to find the greatest common factor, and we're going to start with this example, okay, of 2, 10, and 8. And I want you to find the greatest common factor. It's also known as the GCF, okay? That's the alternative, that's the acronym for it. Okay, so greatest common factor. And basically what that means in very simple language is that I want to find the biggest number that goes into all three of those numbers evenly with no remainders. Okay? And to me, I've learned this method. Okay, it's a method that's pretty direct. If you know how to divide integers, then you'll get the greatest common factor, okay? So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these three numbers and I'm literally going to divide them by something. And I want you to choose a number that will go into all three of these, okay? When we choose a number, we want to make sure it goes into all three numbers that we're, so in this case we have three numbers, so we want to make sure that when we choose a number it divides evenly into all three at the same time. And the number that I can think of off the top of my head will in fact be 2. So 2 divided by 2 is going to be 1. 2 goes into 10 5 times. 2 goes into 8 4 times. And then I evaluate the situation. I say, okay, is there another number that I can think of that will divide into 1, 5, and 4 besides 1 evenly? And the answer is no. Okay, so there are no more numbers that divide into these three numbers. Okay, so therefore I would stop. And basically 2 is going to be my greatest common factor. That means 2 is the absolute biggest number that will go into 10, 2, and 8 evenly. Anything bigger than that, you will get a remainder or a decimal. Okay? So our GCF is going to be 2. All right? Let's do another one. Okay? So this was our first example. Let's find the greatest common factor between 24 and 15. Okay? Again, start thinking of a number that goes into both of these evenly. Okay? The number that I can think of off the top of my head is in fact 3. 3 goes into 24, okay, 8 times. And I'm going to put that over here. And then I do 15, and I do 15 divided by 3 is 5. Now, are there any more numbers that go into 8 and 5 evenly? Absolutely not. Okay, 1 doesn't count because 1 will go into any number. So we stop, okay, and 3 is going to be my GCF. Okay, so let's do another one. Okay, so let's say you had 10, 25, and 40, and I want you to find the largest number that goes into these numbers evenly. Okay, and sometimes you're going to be able to get it off the top of your head, so I'm only demonstrating this to assume that you don't know, and then what do you do in order to learn this quickly? Okay, there are many other methods you can use to find the greatest common factor. Some of you probably already been taught in a different way. That's totally fine. If that works for you, use it. I like this method because it's very direct and it just involves simple division and knowing when to stop. Okay, so I'm going to do that. So now I need to think about a number that goes into 10, 25, and 40 evenly. Again, 5 would work, right? 10 divided by 5 is going to be 2. 25 divided by 5 is 5. 40 divided by 5 will be 8. Okay? And now I look at these three numbers in blue, 2, 5, and 8. And I say, okay, are there any other numbers that go into these three evenly? And the answer is going to be no. Okay? So I stop, and 5 will be my GCF. All right? Let's do larger numbers. So let's say you had 100, 150, and 275. And I say to you, okay, let's do the greatest. What is the greatest common factor? What is the largest number that will go into all three of these evenly? Okay, so let's assume that we didn't know. And we're going to go ahead and say, okay, we're going to start picking a number that's going to start dividing into all three of these. Okay, so think of something easy, okay, something not too complicated, all right, and because our main goal is to just start the problem and getting it reduced very quickly. So there's many possibilities you could choose. You can choose 5, okay, you can choose 25. All right, so 25 sounds like a reasonable answer. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So we have, we're going to take all three of these numbers, and then we're going to start dividing by 25. Okay, and see what we get. All right, so we're going to take 25. How many 25s go into 100? It's going to be 4. How many go into 150? It's going to be 6, right? How many go into 275? It's going to be 11. All right? And then, are there any other numbers that go into 4, 6 evenly, and 11 evenly, rather? No. Okay? So we stop, and therefore my GCF is going to be 25. Okay? It's a very simple method. All right? And it's a very quick way of getting the GCF without making it too overly complicated. Okay? Again, there are many, many other methods that you can use. All right? And if you know other methods that you can use, one of them is finding all the factors, okay? And, there's a lot of different ways, okay? But I like this way because it's very straightforward, okay? So that's called the GCF, all right? Let's do another one. All right? And we'll do 12 and 30. What is the GCF between 12 and 30? Okay, so if you have a problem like this, again, choose a number that's relatively easy to use. I mean, if you want to use 2, use 2, okay? As long as it divides into both of them, it's going to work. Okay, if you can think of a bigger number, then that's great too. But you don't have to go too crazy always trying to get the big number first. Sometimes you can't with certain numbers and it's a little more challenging, okay? So use 2, okay, and that will basically divide the numbers in half. 12 divided by 2 is 6, 30 divided by 2 is 15, and then I say, okay, can I continue dividing these numbers by a number? Well, yeah, 3. They're both divisible by 3. So I'm going to continue my division, and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and pick 3. Well, how many 3's go into 6? Again, it's going to be 2. How many go into 15? It's going to be 5. Now, are there any other numbers that divide both evenly into 2 and 5? The answer is going to be no. So I would stop, and then now I take the numbers that I have, and I go ahead and multiply them together. So 2 times 3 is going to be 6, and 6 is my GCF. So remember, if you have more numbers on the outside here, they have to be multiplied together, and then that'll give you your GCF. So here we have 2 and 3. So we're going to multiply those to get 6. All right. If you had 3 numbers on the outside, then you multiply those 3 together. All right. So let's do see 3. Okay. So I think that kind of explains the basics of greatest common factor. Okay. I hope that you found this video to be very, very helpful.